Welcome to the Honor It All podcast. I'm Honor Garrett, your host, and we are here to honor all that is good in the world. Each podcast, I interview top professionals around the globe who are making a difference, impacting lives, and creating positive change. Today, we have Dr. Jill Kahn, the most positive person I have ever met. Dr. Jill has been in the health and wellness business since 1983. But what makes Dr. Jill so special is her heart and soul. Her energy is magnetic. Her spirit uplifts everyone who she comes in contact with. Dr. Jill is that person who 10x's the vibration in any room she enters. How and why is Dr. Jill this way? Well, she has had quite a journey filled with unexpected events in her life, and she has met each challenge head on. Jill's mission is to help everyone navigate this life with love and gratitude. I am so honored to have you here and for all of my audience to meet Dr. Jill as part of this Honor It All podcast. Welcome, Jill. How are you today?
Oh, I am so excited to be here, and thank you for such a beautiful, beautiful introduction. It went right to the center of my soul, Honor. Oh my goodness.
Well, it was all deserved. I met you on Clubhouse, and you just radiated. I mean, I just don't know who isn't attracted to the person that you are and the positivity that you radiate. So I thank you for that. And I'm so glad to be here today. And so I want to know, are you ready? Because I want everyone to get to know Dr. Jill. And so first of all, could you share with our listeners just a little bit about your background and how you got to this place in this space of health and wellness and inspiring others?
Well, yes, of course. I'm so excited to be here, and I'm so excited that your podcast, has the word honor in it, because I did write a book called The Gift of Taking, and the subtitle is Honor Yourself First, All Else Will Follow. And my whole life's work is all about health and healing and teaching an individual how to accept responsibility for their life, no matter what comes their way, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And as you know, like, we're all a story, and as our story grows, we grow along with it. And, my early story is I started out as a chiropractor and thinking that I was going to save the world one subluxation at a time. I had fallen into the perfect profession for me because I'm holistic, I'm vegan, I'm natural, and I am like the health nuttiest nut out there, and I still am to this day. And while I was in chiropractic school, I found a little lump in my breast, and not thinking anything of it, because granola girls don't think about things like that. A friend came over with this book about healing cancer naturally. I'm like, I'm 20 years old, cancer. I have nothing to do with this subject. This is not my life. This is not me. Well, he scared me enough to get it checked, and it was nothing. It was a swollen lymph node. But that book, when I came home, caught my eye, and I started reading it. And I was like, this book is not about cancer. This book is about life. If we all started eating this way and thinking this way and living this way, we would all become healthier. So I started to literally, Honor, I started to treat myself for an illness that I didn't even have. And for 10 years after that, I became absorbed in the body's ability to heal itself naturally from chronic illness and such. But I thought that was all about me, because I was going to save the world one subluxation at a time. But boy, did my story take a turn.
Well, that's so interesting, because at an early age in my adulthood, I started buying all these cancer books, and I didn't know why. I was just really drawn to them, and I started reading them, and that was kind of strange. I was like, am I preparing for something that I don't know yet? But I just found it fascinating. And maybe that is what got me into health and wellness as well. But you had a specific story, because you were practicing chiropractic, and then you were married, and something happened with your husband. Would you share that with our audience and how that changed?
Well, absolutely. So before something happened with my husband, I haven't shared the story with you, but my first go at it actually was with my dad. And it was back in 1990. And, we came from a family that really had nothing. It was one of those, my my dad worked 3 jobs to get us by. And, it was a rough start for them. But they ended up doing really well and so forth. So anyway, at this aspect of our life, my brothers and I were doctors at this point. We were married. Our lives were brilliant, good. And my mom and dad finally were at the point where they could live their life. And I get the phone call that nobody wants to get. It's Jill, something has happened and it's okay, but I got to give you some bad news. And I'm like, Dad, what? Like, what's going on? And he goes, I cut myself at work and I got blood poisoning. And Perry, my older brother, said, I need to go to the hospital. His doctor met him at the hospital, who happened to be a lung specialist. And he took a chest x-ray, which was totally medically unnecessary for blood poisoning, right? Well,
Right.
there it was on his lung, adenocarcinoma, incurable lung cancer. Basically, they said he had a year or a year and a half to live. So he's telling me this, it's okay, if this is God's will, I've already, maybe this is why, what I was here for is to help you kids, because he poured everything. His whole life was about his kids. And all I'm thinking about in that moment, Honor, is this is not his time to die. This is his time to live. Well, he had decided in advance, before he ever even called me, that he was not going to do chemo and radiation because it wasn't going to work. But he did want to get surgery to remove that aspect of that piece of the lung. So when you hear what happens next, you're not even going to believe how life prepares us for it, like you're talking about, in the most unexpected ways.
Absolutely. I have chills already. So what happened? What happened with your dad?
So what happened was my dad called me with a, I'm sorry thing. And I said to my dad, he had a lot of faith in the medical profession, but he had even more faith in his children. And I said, Dad, I know something about this. He goes, well, what do you know? I said, I've been studying for a decade the body's ability to heal chronic illness. I thought it was just about me and my knowledge, because I was attracted to that. I never thought I'd have to use this, but I know a lot about this. So I told him that the body's ability to heal itself is within him, and that there is no expiration sticker on his ass, and no one's going to tell him if he's going to live or die. And Dad, we can do this. I can help you to heal your life. Let's go for it. Well, my dad said, let's do it. He postponed his surgery. He said, if I fly, I was living in Atlanta at the time. I just had a baby, literally brand new baby at the time. He said, if you fly to Miami and work with me, I will postpone my surgery for 2 weeks. I was on the next plane. Diet, nutrition, detoxification thoughts, so many thoughts about inner work and forgiveness and energy work. I was pouring into him the information about the body's ability to heal himself, and he was getting it. And like a wilted flower starting to get watered and wake up, he was taking ownership to his health journey. So now fast forward 2 weeks. This is just 2 weeks. He checks himself into Jackson Memorial Hospital. It's all documented. My oldest brother, who's an oncologist, was there. My other brother, Perry, who is also a chiropractor, my mom, we're all sitting there, as we should have been, very anxiously waiting in the waiting area. And hours later, the doctor comes out with this look on his face. And he says, the most remarkable thing has happened. When we opened up your father, the tumor was no longer visible to the human eye. My dad lived 18 years after that diagnosis. Amen. So it was an amazing story. And I came home with this thought, like, well, maybe that's why I studied all that stuff. Maybe that's what happened. Maybe it was to help my dad to heal his life. Maybe it's more than the subluxation. Maybe it's the subluxations we need to make these mindset adjustments. Maybe we need to make these lifestyle adjustments. Maybe it's so much more to it than that. Well, thinking that was it, of course, everybody's a story. And as that story we grow along with it. Well, it took another turn in 96.
Well, that in and of itself really inspires me, because I've always believed that God has given us the ability and everything that we need to thrive in this and to actually fulfill our purpose. And this is so great that you were literally given these things so long before you actually use them. And so we need to trust that some things that come our way, they may not make sense right now, but they may be preparing us for something. And yet you had to prepare for another change and twist because of your husband having some devastating news. Would you mind sharing that with our audience?
Absolutely. So it was July 4th, Independence Day, 1996. It was the time when the Olympics came to Atlanta. It was a very special time for us, right? I'm sure you remember.
I remember that.
Your husband being the sports guy that he is. And I'm sure y'all were so watching, what was happening with the Olympics back then. It was such an exciting time. And my children were so little. They were 3 and 5. We had just moved into our dream neighborhood. Danny and I, both chiropractors, and we're like, we're going to open a practice. We're going to live our life. Everything is great. Like when life is good, life is good. So we're like, it's July 4th. It's a fun time to socialize. We can meet more families and children and neighbors. So I take my kids to the pool, for fun. And Danny picks up a basketball game with some guys in the neighborhood. And out of nowhere, somebody comes rushing at me. And they said, Jill, come quick. It's Danny. I'm like, wait, what? Well, they grabbed my children. I rush over to where my husband was. He was laying on the floor. He had a grand mal seizure. They rushed him to the local hospital, only to find out that he had a malignant brain tumor. I'm like, wait, what? This doesn't happen to people like me. This is not my story. There's no way this is my story. And they basically said he had, no matter what, surgery was not an option because of the aspect of the brain that it was in. Chemo and radiation would wound the tumor, but it would come back with vengeance and kill him within 5 to 7 years. When you're 35 years old, you don't want to hear news like that.
Wow. How did you handle that? I'm sure you had to go through some stages. We all do. It's okay to have those feelings and feel them, but you obviously came out on the other end. How did you stay when you decided to do something, to help your husband? Were you overwhelmed, or did you just get focused and go, I'm going to do something?
Well, I freaked out, as most people
Yeah.
would. I totally freaked out, and I ran every white coat on the planet. And my brother helped me because he's a very famous oncologist in the United States, and he guided me to the experts of the experts of the experts. And one after another kept telling me, I'm sorry. So they were suggesting that I do what they say, even though I knew if I did what they said, he'd have 5 to 7 years. This was unacceptable to me. I had the reference of my father in my system already because 6 years prior, I had that experience. So, and those 10 years of studying alternative treatments to healing cancer. So I was freaking out. My body was like in hyper energy motion. My thoughts were going nuts on her. There has to be an answer. I know there's an answer to every problem. There's a solution to every illness. There's a cure. I knew this. I just didn't know what it was. Because brain cancer, now we're so far out of my league. Like this is, my dad's, I thought was a fluke. I was like, this is so much bigger than me. And there was no map. I didn't even, when I studied all that time, I wasn't taking notes. I didn't remember what I was learning. I was just like casual reading. I was just reading for my own knowledge. I wasn't studying. So for about 2 weeks, I am literally, my mind is going nuts, freaking out. There has to be an answer. There has to be an answer. There has to be an answer. And then there was that moment that you're talking about. My moment was by the kitchen sink. And I was standing by the kitchen sink. The energy in my body was over the top, crazy, going fast, hyperadrenaline, trying to search, like the little search thing on the computer when it gets stuck. That was my thoughts. And all of a sudden, a feeling like no other of total peace instantly. It was an instant moment came over me. Total peace in one moment. I knew. I turned to my husband and I looked at him and I said, Danny, not only are you going to be okay, but we're going to help so many people as a result of this. And we decided in that moment to take it on ourselves. But taking on something like that is big and it's hard and it's really, really, really scary.
Well, it's scary because even though you have the knowledge and you feel like you're doing the best and you're trying to help, those thoughts keep coming into your mind. At least they would with me. It's like, am I doing the right thing? Am I putting someone's life at risk? Like, what do I do? But so what did you do?
Yeah.
And how is your husband?
Yeah. Well, I didn't feel like I had the knowledge at all. I had no idea what to do. I couldn't remember the books I read. I couldn't remember the doctors. We didn't have the benefit in 96 like we do with the internet. It was just really, it was really hard. So shortly in, I had aspects of knowledge, but I didn't have knowledge. And shortly in, I started to feel personally, I started to feel enormous pressure from the medical community, pressure from his family. Just do what the doctors say. What if he dies and it's on you? I mean, well-intended people I was feeling internal pressure. Oh my God, he could have died. And he clearly, who takes this on? Like, this is so, so big. So I knew that in order to help Danny save his life, I needed to strengthen mine. What I didn't know is over the next 3 years of figuring out things that felt like it was unfigureoutable, because it wasn't an easy journey. It wasn't from point A to point B. It was like a heartbeat fluctuating. Where are we doing it? Where do we go next? When do we change? Are we on the right path? Are we not on the right path? You know, it was really hard, really, really hard. So over those next 3 years, what I was doing was building up an incredible skill set to stay strong, objective, and stable when making choices and dealing with this. I knew that I needed to create space between me and the problem, and me and other people and all the chatter that was going on. I knew I needed to do that to even be able to think clearly and see clearly. I knew I needed to stop the crazy in my head. I knew I needed space, like you refer to at the beginning of this podcast. I knew I needed a space to feel and melt down and be scared. So there was a time for me to feel and there was a time for me to deal. I never let those two moments touch, ever, ever. I knew I needed to have very hard conversations without taking anything personally, zero, or making anyone wrong. I knew I needed to just look objectively at the words and make choices. Is this what I'm looking for? Is this not? Because it was me choosing. It wasn't anybody telling me what to do or what not to do. And change was my middle name. I was observant to everything and attached to nothing. I would drop a treatment, a person, a concept in a heartbeat if I think it wasn't working, and throw myself into the unknown faster than you could imagine if I thought that wasn't working, trusting that within the unknown, an answer would come to me next. So
that's beautiful, because that might be the very hardest thing that everyone struggles with. Like, to have those coping mechanisms, to not take things personally. I mean, I think I take things personally every day. You know, my husband and I, we love each other, but things, you know, you just do. So to have this skill that you created is amazing. And I'm excited to talk about that later, because I know that you're helping so many people with that. So tell me what happened next.
Okay, so what happened next is after 3 years, we really felt like he was out of the woods. I was so lucky. Honor, I don't know how I get lucky this way, but I get medical people to document my stories. Like with my dad's story, you know, Jackson Memorial Hospital documented. With this story, I talked the head of neurosurgery of oncology I asked him if he would do MRIs along the way with me so we could see where we're at any given moment. And he agreed. It's unheard of that he would agree to watch me and guide me and be with me while I did all holistic things. It was unheard of. So we have it all. This whole story is documented at Emory University. They watched the tumor go away. So the long story short, Danny lived to tell the story. He is alive and well. And when I got back into practice, I started attracting cancer patients. They started calling me. It's like, we heard your story. My so-and-so got diagnosed. Could you help him? Like, I am not a cancer doctor. This is not what I do, but here's what I can do. I could teach you how to get strong in it so you can navigate it. I could teach you how to accept responsibility for your life. I could tell you that no one's going to tell you if you're going to live or die, and that you got to navigate this. You can't have somebody do it for you. I could show you how to get strong under stress so you can deal with fill in the blank. And I started to teach them what I was calling back then were my formulas. And people started to strengthen and accept responsibility for their life and take on their own health journeys and get well. And then very shortly, and someone says this, my wife, she doesn't have cancer, but I really feel like she could use your formulas. She's really struggling. And then it was the kid, and then it was the next person. And then before long, I realized that what I had discovered unexpectedly through those years was never about cancer. It was about life, and the skill set that I had developed was about how to stay strong and healthy for any human being, no matter what comes at them. And that turned into a program called the Biocode System, bio meaning life, which is a skill of 5 skills. That's it. That I believe is a missing piece of intelligence that should be a behavioral standard in the world, because I have seen over the years across the board, no matter who the person is, no matter what age, no matter what stage, no matter where you come from, whether you're the richest, whether you're the poorest, across the board, people are missing the skill set of how to strengthen themselves in the stress of the moment to be able to deal with fill in the blank, whatever's in front of them.
So actually, all of the experiences you have been through, as devastating as they were at the time, literally was preparing this way for you. All of those biocodes were in you and created, and they may not have been forged, have these things not happen to you. So, I mean, I hope that it inspires other people who are going through some difficulties right now, that actually that may be helping to pave the way for something beautiful, a purpose or a mission that you have, and it will uncover eventually for that. And I have a question. So these biocodes, can they help anyone? If I've got a struggling teenager, or I'm struggling in my business, or there's just a mom that's got lots of kids and can't cope, will this program work for anyone?
It will work for anyone that does the work, kind of like going to the gym. If you do the work, it's going to work. What my research now through the years, because it's been a lot of years now, I mean, so many years in the making, is that we all have the right problem. We all have the right problem. Stress, we all have stress on a daily basis. We all have issues. We all have parenting issues. We all have life issues. Everybody's going to be struggling with something, period. I have never in my entire career met a person without a problem, or a problem without a person. Meaning life is about problem solving. That's not the problem. The problem is us in it and how we approach problems. And that should be taught day one. We never got our How to Live Our Best Life manual when we were born. I didn't get mine. Did you get yours?
No. So we probably had parents who thought they were teaching us.
And that's the problem. And that's the problem, because if we're living in a problem solving world all day, every day, and we are, and there's many forms of learning, you go to school. First thing the teacher gives you is problems. How do you do math? How do you read? How do you learn? And it's a systematic way of learning where we all go up together. But behavioral intelligence, meaning our ability to consciously choose empowered behaviors, regardless of the situation or the behaviors of others, we're homeschooled in it. So that means that I learned from Diane and Stanley from the Brooklyn and Bronx, who they didn't have the best teachers either. So everybody is schooled at home from these hand-me-down ideas of how do you manage yourself under stress. Now we have a system that's decentralized, meaning everybody, Honor, has their own right book. Everybody has their own right book from where you come from. So now you come to the table and you have all of these different ideas and concepts of how do you behave, especially when things don't go according to plan and they don't match. So we have a world feeling not good enough, not smart enough, not healthy enough. There's proving, protecting, justifying, defending. And I'm here to tell you it's because of this missing skill set. So when I started to teach this, it started to fill a void in so many people, because it really should have came day one in school. It doesn't matter where you are, no matter how old you are, it will work, but it's equally as important. All learning is based upon a foundation of behavioral skills, meaning how well you can strengthen yourself to learn something, to deal with something. And this is filling that void. And, it's a practice. It's a practice. It's like, we're knowledge rich and behavior poor. We know more than we could do. This is the do muscle. This is the how do you in that moment when it's 3:54 p.m. and the shit hits the fan, and you miss the kids' school bus, and the dog just ran out, and you're late for the meeting. You're trying to log in, and the internet's not working. Who's teaching you what to do in that moment? You're trying to live in that moment. Most people I know are not trying to live in these kinds of moments. They want to get the hell out of these moments. They need to know, how do I work that moment? So that's the body of work that I teach, is in the moment, throughout the day, the real life, real time practice of how do you strengthen yourself. And you grow from wherever you're at, where everything's right about wherever you're at. Wherever you're at is the right moment to take this on.
Well, I think it's beautiful because when you mentioned earlier about detaching yourself, from other things, like not taking things too personally. And to me, that is probably the hardest thing, at least for me. And I'm sure other people are struggling with that too. So in the bio codes, when you teach this, are you able to help people with a lot of their limiting beliefs? Because really, isn't that what's kind of stopping us from learning the right way to do things?
Well, what I found is that we're good people with bad skills.
Right.
With weak tools. It's like we have the right problem with the wrong tool. So if you're trying to, put a nail in the wall because you're trying to hammer something in, but you don't have a hammer, and you're so frustrated, you're using a shoe and you're using all these things, you have the right problem, but you have the wrong tool. We have a bunch of really, really great people who are struggling of what to do with their pain and their stress and their challenges and their words and their deeds and their actions and the interactions, because it is the right problem. We should have that problem. We have the wrong tool because we have some of our fundamental concepts backwards. So the biocode rewires the brain, and it shows you, wait, it's a bunch of new ways of thinking. It's new ways of acting. It's new ways of seeing the world. It's new ways of seeing yourself in the world. And it shows you, wait, you're seeing it like this. Let's bring the thought back this way. You thought it was that, but it's really this. And that rewiring in that program, in that moment, changes the way you see who you are and what problems are and your level of responsibility. It's so powerful. I mean, it's been changing lives, for so long now. It works all the time.
So it's a lot of reframing. And so let me ask me, not ask me, I want to ask you, how long is the program? How do people get involved in it if they're interested in doing this? And is this something that you've tried to get into schools? Because it sounds like to me, this should be a foundation in every school across the nation.
Every school. It should be in every school. So we're in a lot of very large companies, and they're using it as a personal leadership tool of how to train leaders to take personal responsibility for how they're showing up in the stress. Because in companies, the two biggest problems are people problems and the rate and speed of transformation. So it gives them the tool for them to be the athlete in the gym and get stronger, because with the biocode system, nobody's involved in the program other than you, period. You're the only one in the gym. Life is your gym. You get stronger, and it's not hinged upon another person. So we have that. We're working with individuals, their certification programs, and we're going to try to get it into the schools for sure. Right now, we're working on a self-directed online program, which will probably be done in a couple of months. And at that point, it's going to be great, because then we could get it out to so many more without me, or people that are, it's great if you help people, one-on-one or in group settings, or in teams, or even entire companies I've helped. But it's really cool if it could work itself without anybody being there. And we're just about there. We're at the 23rd hour of that.
That's exciting. One to many. There's only one of you, and you have this beautiful, gift to give the world. So the more people you can give it to quicker, and they can get those skills, the bigger the blessing. So I just wanted to ask you overall, because you obviously have been through a lot in your life, what does success mean to you?
Well, I'm a person who has spent my entire life, I've had one career, never worked for anyone. I've interned when I was 23 years old for a doctor for 1 year. And then I've worked for myself my entire life. And I love what I do, and I do what I love. And I find my success in helping other people to be successful and healthy within themselves. For me, I am all about authenticity and being the walking, talking, living example of anything that you represent in this world. My greatest success on this entire planet, I've done big things, a lot of big things. I've been on tours, I've written a book, I've been on TV shows, I've done a lot of really big things to impact the world. But my greatest success is raising two beautiful children who are so mindful and so kind. My daughter is 27, and she's incredible. And my son is 30. And I'm telling you that their behaviors as a result of these challenges that we all went through are so impeccable and so mindful and so kind that one day when I grow up, I aspire to be like my children, that they are that amazing. That's my biggest accomplishment.
That is so beautiful. And what a neat thing that you have these biocodes, and whether you were consciously doing it or not, you were instilling all of this into your kids. And that will impact generations to come just in your own little family. So that's so amazing. And I'm very much into energy work, and I really think that everything's energy, and how you vibrate and how you come to the table with anything, because you can take these biocodes, but if you don't have the right attitude towards it, or, and you don't take responsibility, then not a lot of change happens in your life. So can you speak to kind of what do you do on a daily basis? Like, how do you raise your vibration? How do you have a daily routine or schedule that that you could share with our audience of how you go about your day?
Well, thanks for that. And I'd be more than happy to share some new ways of thinking and like the foundational skills of the biocode system, because that is how I live my life and how I go about my day. It's the perspective that I keep. But I am a health person. And I do believe in energy. And I do believe that thoughts are our primary energy system in our life, because the strength of a thought that you have goes into your body and it creates an emotion, right? And that emotion is basically a feedback system telling you how strong or weak that thought is. Well, that same exact energy goes into the cells of your body, and your cells of your body say thank you. And then they create a response that's stressful or relaxed, which is another indicator telling you how strong or how weak your thoughts are. That same exact energy, like sunshine, comes energetically out of your body, and it's like magnetism. Like when somebody walks in a room, like when I met you, even on an app, I felt your magnetism immediately. You have very strong magnetism. It's very bright and very light. You have high energy. You're so positive. It was so apparent that you are into health and wellness and kindness and goodness, that you're a really, really good person. I knew that immediately the second you spoke, right? Because you have magnetism. And magnetism can be like you, but it could be anything, right? Because the word magnet is in it, right? Magnetism, magnet. Well, that energy goes out into the world, and the world brings you back reflections of the strength of that energy, not necessarily thought for thought, deed for deed, but the strength of that energy. So if you have a weak thought, you're going to have a weak emotion, meaning maybe fear, worry, doubt, insecurity. Your body may get tight. Maybe you'll even get a pain in your neck, right? To give you a signal like, hey, we got to change a thought and a choice that you're making right here. And then when that energy goes out into the universe, all of a sudden, maybe other people are a pain in the neck. And if they are a pain in the neck, you could trace it right back to your belief system, because it's how you're handling the situation, because you think it should be something other than what it is. It should be what it is. It's your ability to meet that moment is really the bigger problem than that being the way that it is.
That's so sobering. I mean, like attracts like, but I find myself so often when I'm triggered by something and I want to blame or get mad at someone else, realizing like, oh, that's kind of a mirror back to me. So how am I handling that? So do you want to speak on kind of how, or a little bit more about the biocodes, and how what the steps and procedures are that you go through?
Well, I could talk to it at a high level because it's definitely, in less than an hour's time, it might be a little much to try to go through all the bio codes. There's 5 of them, and they're 5 basic core skill sets that are mandatory for what the tool that you need to meet that moment and what the practice is, because it's not perfect. It's a practice, meaning life changes, moments changes, situations change. And it's the exercises of you meeting those moments and challenging yourself and hitting the gym and starting to flex those muscles, real time, real life. But I'm going to zoom up and I'm going to go to what's the high level new idea about the biocodes, because I think this could help the listeners out there. Just this one thought alone.
Oh, great.
So one of the new ways of thinking. So my job is to always give people new ways of thinking. So you could have aha moments. So you could have an expanded reality and do something different. My job isn't to just keep telling you what you already know, reminding you of that, or being like the cheerleader. I want you, I tell people all the time, teaching you the biocodes is powerful because my job is to get rid of you. And I mean that in the nicest way, because I want to see healthy, independent people that know what to do in these moments, that could check themselves, because now they'll have the tools to be able to do this. We want independent, healthy people who are not relying upon or codependent upon anybody for their success. And this sets up a space for that. So the high level new way of thinking is this. Most people in life, and I know you have felt this way yourself and you have experienced it being a coach, most people in life think this. They think their problems are the problem. And if I could only get rid of this problem, if people would be kinder to me, if I could lose the 5.5 pounds, if I could stop worrying, if I could get the job, if my partner would stop being a pain in the ass, if whatever it might be, then I will feel good about myself and I could carry on in my life, right? People think if I could solve these problems that keep coming at them, then everything is going to start to get better. And I am here to tell you this. Pay attention, everybody. Your problems are not the problem. Your problems are not the problem. Problems are a part of life. Problems will never go away. They will change. And that mysterious problem machine that spits them out nonstop is going to spit them out all day, every day, because those are instruments for our personal growth.
Absolutely.
So problems are here to stay. And if we took your to-do list right now and I had the magic wand and I wiped it out, I bet you anything by 2:00 today, it will be replenished again. Right. Because problems don't go away. They just change, right? So if our problems really aren't the problem, then the question would be, what is the problem? And I'm here to say it's you in it. It's you in it. So I love to think in metaphors, because when you take somebody out of their life, their experience, their triggers, they could see it very, very differently. So let's just say your problems or your challenges or your obstacles in life, and you're going to love this because you live in an athletic family. I love everything athletic, right? Let's say our problems and all of those are like an obstacle course or a challenge course. And we all know what's in a challenge course. Challenges. Maybe you have the high jump or the shot put or all the different challenges, right? So if somebody was a newbie athlete, a rookie, right, just starting out, and they were going after that high jump, they would look at it, Honor, and they would go like, there's no way, this is too high. Nobody could do this. I'm going to hurt myself. They'd give a go at it. They'd fall on their ass, right?
Right, exactly.
They'd get up and they'd be bitching the whole way through. Then they'd go pick up that shot put and go, oh my God, it's so heavy. And I'm going to hurt my neck and my shoulder. And they'd be tripping up the whole entire time. Now, if your husband, who was a professional ball player, right, took this on, yeah, I guarantee you, he would be standing there looking at this obstacle course saying like, oh my goodness, I can't wait to take this on. He'd jump over the high jump. He'd pick up the shot put. He'd take a leap. He'd do all the different activities. He probably would run right back to me and say, Jill, that was so much fun. What's next?
Because he was trained for it.
Because he has the ability, he was trained to meet that problem at that level. I am telling you that the challenges of your life are the gym and you are the athlete. And we need to use those problems, those challenges, those weights, those stressors to strengthen you. You must get stronger in it. And when you get stronger in it, it feels easier and more fun to navigate the hard things. So life is all about you. It's always been about you. It always will be about you. We're going to make life our gym. You're going to be the athlete, the bio coach for sure, or the personal trainer. It's going to teach you how to flex those muscles in the moment to get stronger and stronger. So when you meet those challenges in life, you're going to be like this. Bring it, because you want to take it on and flex those muscles and get stronger. So the next time it feels a little bit easier, and again and again. So eventually you're stronger than your stress.
Well, that makes me just think about how there are a lot of challenges in life that, excuse me, especially as an athlete, you really want. You're excited about the challenge. You're excited to play, that team and try to beat them because you have been preparing day after day. You've been doing the work, and game day's here. So you're so excited. And that just makes me so excited that you shared that metaphor, because it makes me think of, okay, when I start getting these challenges, if I do the work to practice these new challenges in my life, whatever problem comes my way, I should be excited about. So I love that analogy. And one thing that I also think about, because you and I both love information, we both love to learn. And I think being a lifelong learner is amazing. But information isn't that valuable unless it's applied for the transformation. And so that's why I love what you have with biocodes. Gives you a way to actually apply so you can create that transformation. So I'm so excited to learn more about it. I'm excited to do the biocodes. So, and what I wanted to ask you now is, are there any words of advice? I know that there are people out there struggling today, whether it's their circumstances or something. Are there any encouraging words that you would like to tell that person in our audience that just needs that hope?
Absolutely. Most people think that we got to get rid of the stress. And if I could lower my stress levels, then I'm going to be fine. And, in all areas of life, we've learned to use stress as an instrument for personal growth. It's like if you were an athlete and you went to the gym and you picked up a weight and it was too heavy and it was stressing out the muscle, you wouldn't say, oh, let me put this down so I can get stronger. You learn how to use the stress as an opportunity to get the muscle stronger so the weight feels lighter. What we're trying to get rid of is exactly what we need. We just never learned how to use our daily stress as an instrument for our personal growth. So when you look at the statistics, I'm going to give people hope right now. When you look at the statistics of what's going on in the world on a daily basis, the world, I'm not just talking about where we live, right? 77 to 80% of the people on the planet are struggling with stress. They're disengaged in their work or their job. They're unhappy or unfulfilled within their life, thinking that they're not good enough. 77 to 80%. That is not a problem. That's an epidemic. And I am telling you, it's because of this missing skill set, because they don't have the tool in that moment of what am I supposed to do with this stress? If I'm not supposed to get rid of it, and Jill says I'm supposed to keep it, what's the exercise to do to keep it? How do I use it to lift it up? When people take this program, we have an assessment, and everybody is welcome to take the assessment. Go to my website. We'll link it in the thing, and take the assessment, because it's going to tell you your behavioral intelligence, meaning how you're performing under stress. And it doesn't have to be the big things. It could be anything that annoys or disturbs you, including yourself, especially yourself. And it's going to tell you your biocode, meaning of these 5 biocodes, which one is your weakness, your dominant weakness, meaning your greatest opportunity to grow, your greatest opportunity to grow. So when people take the course and they take the assessment before and after, historically through these years, it has the statistics have shown 78% sustainable improvement for all of these years. 78%. So now we have a world that's that's 77 to 80% stressed out. And now they learn 5 biocodes, 5. It's not like the 450 billion ways to be a better person in life. It's not reading, it's not journaling, it's not writing about it, it's not even talking about it. It's a practice. It's all practice. It's only practice. You know, this drinking from the fire hose is in your day. It's in your real life moments with your life and your stress and your crazy and your whatever is annoying or bothering you. So it's filling a void. So the hope is it's a simple practice. Anybody can learn it, no matter what age, no matter what stage. And when you learn these 5 skills, I guarantee you it's going to change your life forever. So don't think it always has to be this way, because I have found that it doesn't. We don't have to accept this as normal. It's not normal. We just don't have the skills to know what to do with it. And that's the bigger problem.
No, that's such good insight. And so I want to tell everybody in the audience that if you want to know more about the biocodes, go to Dr. Jill's website. I will put everything underneath whatever link in the podcast on the YouTube channel, so you can find out how to contact Dr. Jill. And this is such an important thing for everyone. And I just encourage everyone that if there's someone in your life and yourself that needs, everyone needs this. So I really encourage you to at least go take the quiz, see how you come up. But I just wanted to ask you, Dr. Jill, what's next on the horizon? Because you obviously just keep growing and new things start to develop. What's your next step? What's your next big vision for you and your future?
Well, this is a big vision. I gotta tell you that. This is a very big vision, because, you know, I am always motivated by mission, never money, even though I've done fine for my life, because when you're motivated by mission and you really are showing up to help people, you know, income follows that and money follows that. But my next big vision is to get this out there to the planet, that it takes a life force on its own without me having to be there. So I'm working on that, and I'm working on attracting really great people who are helping me to do that. And just to keep making this my mission is I want anyone in the world, no matter where you come from, no matter what part of the world you are, to have access to this. You know, from a charitable perspective, you know, I've been involved with a lot of groups of people that have really struggled in life, you know, women and children who are in homeless shelters or in like refuge areas. I have worked, put it this way, these women, you get in the elevator, you go to the bottom floor, and you get out and you'll find them there. What they've been through is horrific in their life. And I have donated my program to all organizations like that are helping women and men and people that are struggling in all these nonprofits. And it's working. And it's working. It's finally giving them the tools that they need to take full responsibility of their life. I mean, when people start learning this, like, oh my God, that's it. Why didn't I learn this? Now that you're saying this makes so much sense. I have gone to the jails through another program called Canine Cellmates, and they teach the men in the jails how, through animals, which I love animals. You love animals. You could probably hear my animals.
I have 2 upstairs. I was barking a little while ago.
Yeah, how to accept personal responsibility, because in the jail system, the relapse is unbelievable. Why? They were raised in an environment without skills. They had no role models. It wasn't their fault. They're good people with poor skills. Good. We're all good people with poor skills. When you see behavioral problems in this world, it looks like meanness, arrogance. It looks like nastiness. It looks like rudeness. It's weakness. It's weak. Mm-hmm. It's like a muscle weakness. It's not meanness. It's weakness. You could be the most successful person, and under stress inside you're crumbling, because behavioral intelligence and academic intelligence are 2 separate skill sets. It doesn't come with age or stage. So when we go to the jails and start teaching these men, it's changing their lives. And not only is it changing their lives, they're teaching the other men in the jails, because it's easy to learn.
Wow.
And easy to practice. So, you know, my goal is to get it out there, whether it be the people in the nonprofits that need it so dearly, or anyone in their everyday life. It's how you could be a better human.
Are there any last words you want to leave us with? Because I could talk to you all day, but any last words that you would just like to leave for our audience? And
Yes, I would. Well, first of all, it has been an honor, pun intended, to be here with you and have this conversation. And I honestly could talk to you all day as well, because, we're both into the betterment of life, always starting with self, right? And when you get that, it's all about you. It's always been about you and always will be about you. And how you show up in any moment is how you're going to relate to other people in life. And that is also about you. And when people can accept radical responsibility for who they are and how they're showing up, it's a game changer, because nobody has to change other than you in order for this to work or for your life to work. So I want everybody to know that it is possible to enjoy life in the same moment, while dealing with day-to-day challenges. It's possible to do that we don't have to remove the stress, remove the people, isolate ourselves, hang out with the positive people, no. It is possible to enjoy your life while navigating day-to-day challenges, when you have tools, when you know what to do in those moments. And it's total freedom. It's total freedom of how you could navigate life without anyone changing in this big, crazy, mixed up, beautiful world that we're living in. So I am wishing everybody only the best. I'm excited to be part of this conversation, and we got to just keep helping people. We got a lot of tools, a lot of skills, a lot of years, and just want to keep helping people.
Right. Well, thank you, Dr. Jill. I feel so blessed that you're in my life. I think we'll be friends forever. And I want everyone in my audience to know, and who might be listening, that it is a gift to know Dr. Jill, and what she has to offer is really changing people's lives. So if you yourself, we all need help in this area. And if you know someone else, share this with the world, because we're just trying to make the world a better place. So thank you, Dr. Jill. I appreciate you being here. And to the audience, we'll see you next week. Thank you.